You are listening to the Real Men Feel Show with your hosts Andy Grant and Appio Hunter. Real Men Feel is all about encouraging men to allow and express all of their emotions. Despite what you may have been taught, all emotions do serve you. Real Men Feel is committed to opening up discussions that most men aren't having, but you certainly don't need to be a man to join us. The Real Men Feel podcast is produced live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern for your growth and enjoyment. You can find more information about the Real Men Feel movement at realmenfeel.org. Come back often and feel free to add the podcast to your favorite RSS feed or subscribe on iTunes by visiting realmenfeel.org/iTunes. You can also follow us on Twitter at realmenfeel.org and at facebook.com/realmenfeelshow. All links mentioned in each episode are in the show notes found on the blog at realmenfeel.org. This is a weekly program, and your comments, feedback, and participation are welcome during the live show and anytime in the Facebook group, on Twitter, or at realmenfeel.org. Now, let's get into this week's show. Hello, and welcome to Real Men Feel. This is episode 66. Goodness gracious. Time does fly. I am your host, Andy Grant, and Real Men Feel had been gone for a while. It's been almost 2 months since we had a regular show. The last 2 episodes were me kind of spontaneously rising out of my own ashes and talking and going public and sharing some things. But tonight, we are really back because even my co-host and friend, Appio Hunter, is here.
Woo! Oh my gosh, I've missed you, Andy, and man, it's so great to be back in the saddle and doing this again.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this, and it's so much. I got into this my own funk and not taking action, and we should just do a show, and then I wouldn't, and then we should do a show, and I wouldn't. But and we haven't talked, like we haven't spoken since the last episode.
Yeah, it's true, exactly. Because we've kind of have stayed aware of what's been going on in each other's lives and stuff, but we haven't directly communicated. When I mentioned reach out to you privately, just shortly after you emerged from the ashes, I was like, I wanted to give you your space. I wanted to make sure that because we know each other well enough, and I certainly know myself well enough to know that when I really connect with somebody on that emotional level, it isn't necessarily end up being a positive thing. It can actually create more intense emotion. I'm like, I don't want to do that to poor Andy. I want him to come out at some point.
Yeah. Cool. So, we're recording this Tuesday, August 22nd, 2017. Yesterday was the big solar eclipse that, crossed the entire United States, and it was really neat to see kind of the whole country stop and focus on a natural event. And,
yes.
That was really neat because leading up, I'd been depressed. I didn't give a shit about the eclipse. But then the day it came, I did put it on TV, and again, I felt excitement and the wonder and the pictures and tracking it all. But anyway, tonight our planned guest, Wendy Isaac, an author and a speaker and a friend of both of ours, was going to come on and share her insights into what the eclipse really did, beyond the astronomical movements of the moon and the sun, but really energetically what it did. Mm-hmm. Again, I had been withdrawn. I didn't read anything. So I was really looking forward to that. But in a beautiful bit of manifesting back to me what I've done to others, with an hour to go tonight, Wendy let us know that she couldn't make it tonight. Over the past 2 months, I've blown off multiple guests. And in the past, even when Appio's gone forward and done a show, I'd be like, I'm an emotional mess. I can't be on tonight. And I've done that to you at least a couple times.
And I've had some of my own little emergencies that came up, so we're definitely evened out there. We have balance.
Good. Thanks for pointing that out, because a part of my personal funkiness is kind of this self-centeredness of the negativity, and if I'm the only one letting people down. I'm the only one that's ever blown someone off, and it's just like,
nope.
No,
Nope.
yeah.
I've had to do it a couple of times myself, and
Yeah.
sometimes last second also. So, and being a Libra, I know a thing or two about balance, and I can tell you, there's absolute balance right now.
Yeah. So I was born July 1st, so I'm Cancer,
Okay.
crab, and hide and withdrawn, and that's why I've been in my shell for a while.
Right, right. What's interesting about the whole zodiac thing, what have discovered is really fascinating about the two different zodiacs. You have the European zodiac, and then you have the Chinese zodiac. So the Chinese zodiac, which is based off of the 12-year cycle, is really very highly representative of one's character, whereas the European zodiac, the 12-month cycle, is really kind of a more accurate representation of one's emotional resonance, if you will. So to give you an example, I'm a monkey. I was born in the year of the monkey, and boy, oh boy, do I exhibit those traits. Because, shiny object squirrel, I am all over the place. And monkeys are just so scattered, and they need stuff to keep busy and to keep grounded and to really keep focused. At the same time, on that personality level, I'm all about being balanced, natural diplomat, everything else. So the two are so accurate, but in different ways.
Yeah, I used to read. I don't know a lot about astrology,
Mm-hmm.
but again, I have a long history and a recent history dealing with depression and suicidal thoughts and all sorts of fucking garbage. But when I was even at my youngest and was first diagnosed with bipolar and clinical depression, I would read what a Cancer's supposed to be, and they would talk about, very emotional and sensitive. I'm like, well, it's just, is something wrong, or am I just my sign? And like what the heck? One of the many things that would piss me off as being me.
Right, exactly. No, and I, there are elements of astrology that I think are just fascinating, more so from just a curiosity standpoint and just observational standpoint. As far as me getting into the whole thing of it, ruling your destiny, blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, not so much. But again, all disciplines that connect with the energetic realms, I think, and that includes scientific disciplines as well. Both, whether they were considered metaphysical or scientific, spiritual, philosophical, whatever, they all connect in some way, and they all have those little elements of truth and reality that are there that, when brought together as a whole, really kind of help to represent, our experience as human beings.
Cool. Well said. And so we're going to, hopefully Wendy will join us next week for the show, and we'll really dive into the energetic and emotional and spiritual awakening impact of the eclipse. Because I do have questions about it. But I, again, ignoring it, not caring, I did feel lighter and excited yesterday. And I felt it was interesting that I was finally feeling better, matching the big shifting of energies and, so.
Yes.
But did you notice anything in your own space?
I did. And it's interesting because in the Native American cultures, they frequently look at eclipses as being a time of renewal. And so having that awareness, I myself felt a shift. I myself felt a bit of a sense of renewal as well. And it seems to really show up today, because while I was working, the past couple of weeks at work, my performance has just been like bleh. I work in an outbound calling environment, and I'm basically working directly with our pros on, for those who don't know, I work at Thumbtack, and part of what I do is I'm in a department that works directly with the pros, really helping them learn the ins and outs of the systems and how they can truly be successful on the platform. And so I'm usually just now reaching out to pros either who have called or sometimes it's just a direct cold calling type of a thing. And people may call it sales. It's not really a sales thing. It's more like, hey, we've got this stuff. We want to help you out. Let's help you out type of an environment. But man, I was off my game. I was just like crashing and burning every time I'd get hold of somebody. I'm like, okay, I'm not connecting. There's something wrong here. And then that shift happened yesterday, that renewal happened yesterday, and sure enough, boom, I'm like, okay, I'm back. I'm good. So yes, there is something to that, and I really didn't have time today to kind of look at that further as far as cultural perspectives, but then I decided, I really want to leave that conversation really to the true expert in the whole matter, which is Wendy.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll have her next week.
Yeah, cool. So we'll but yeah, we noticed the eclipse, I'm sure, and everyone did that. Again, that was so neat to me, seeing people that didn't expect it and seeing people that were really in it, and the totality of experiencing and crying and just being overcome with just, again, the marvel of nature, and nothing else mattered for that little bit. Like,
It's
all
true.
of the U.S., if not all of the world, was like, for those.
Yeah, they're totally wrapped up. And I was actually at 92%. So I was close enough to totality that it was noticeable. I mean, there was an actual dip in the light levels. It's almost like it was dusk. That's what the light levels were like here in Salt Lake. And, there was even a noticeable dip in the temperature as well. So it was really, really fascinating to see. That's the closest I've ever been to a total eclipse. I actually have relatives up right there in the path of the eclipse in Idaho. My dad's grave was actually right there in the path of the total eclipse as well. And I thought, hey, that would be kind of fun. I'll sit with my dad, or at least his body, at his grave, and watch the eclipse from there. But then when I heard from my aunt, and she was telling us about the hordes of people that are planning to go up there, I swear it's like half of Utah's population went up to Idaho, because it's only like a 3 or 4 hour drive to the path of totality from where we are. I'm like, no. You know what? There's another total eclipse that's going to go directly over Salt Lake. I don't know if I'm going to be living in Salt Lake in 2045. Probably not. But hey, there are always ways to go and see a total eclipse somewhere else. So I'm not going to lose sleep over it.
Yeah,
but it was really cool being there at 92% even.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I'd never been on my wish list to be like, oh wow, that they are neater to experience. Like I'm in Massachusetts. We were supposedly 60 or 70, but it was cloudy. Like, yeah, I couldn't really tell here, but I just watched it all on TV. And again, I loved seeing the reactions and the news channel that would have, like, here's one camera of the event looking up at the moon and the sun, and the other camera just showing the people going to darkness, and just, again, it was that bonding, Lollapalooza experience in every town.
Yeah, I actually did record it myself, and I ended up watching it later, even though I was there and was able to experience most of it. But just watching the people in the path of totality, and just how emotional they got, how excited they got, I thought was really, really amazing. Yeah. And I think that's a great segue into kind of us talking about some of our adventures over the past few weeks, and emerging on the other side of that darkness.
Yeah, because again, one of the few notes I wrote before this, and this all reflects to it, because I'm in the same circumstances that I was last week, but last week was the last day I was really like, I was seriously contemplating an attempt on my life last week. And nothing is different today, except I'm not thinking that. Right. So again, whatever shift, and I don't think it was only the eclipse. I think I also got fed up, and I finally admitted, and I went to, as I shared in the last two shows, spent time with my mom and just got things out of me. And what I realized from this show over and over is, if I was willing to do that, if I had just said, let's do a show. I'm a bawling mess and I hate everything. Let's do a show. like I bet I would have come out of this faster and sooner and easier. But it's just,
right, exactly. But you also needed to be able to process it on your own. And as I mentioned to you, again, privately, just before, when we were contemplating and planning having the show again today, I've still been there with you. I've connected with you the whole time, holding space for you and for Lori, to make sure that the two of you could get through in a space, in the time that was appropriate for you. Because honestly, you know this as well as I do, but sometimes it helps to be reminded from outside of ourselves, and that is allowing our emotions to just process and flow at their own natural pace. Yes, there might be boulders, it may be cause lots of disturbance in the waters and so forth. It may even cause the waters to slow down. But ultimately, by letting them continue to flow, which is exactly what you did, you went with it. It's like, it sucks the whole way, which, yes, is true, because no, I've certainly been there too. We've both been there. But I could feel you going through. I could feel you allowing yourself. Sometimes you would grab onto a rock, hold on to it for a little bit, and then let go again, and then just keep on going. And every time you would hold onto a rock, that's when you would be thinking, I'm tired. I just want this to end. I just want this to end. But deep down, I could sense that it wasn't you that was thinking, I want me to end. It was more like, I just want this exhaustion, this, this turmoil to end. That's what was really going on deep down.
Yeah, and that, it's like, it is the most frustrating part to me. When I keep thinking about ending my life, and yet I know that's not what I want to do. But I'm trying to, and I'm like, am I just playing the victim? Am I dragging all this story forward? If what can I do to shift this? And then I'm like, fuck it, I don't want to shift it. I want to just be miserable. And so many times I would make the choice. I didn't open I didn't reach out. I didn't do things I knew would make me feel better, because some part was like, we're feeling better. There is no better. This is like, this is who you really are.
Yeah.
But again, it's not true. But that's,
it's the practiced mind that every once in a while, when you get into that space of like ickiness, turmoil, and so forth, that's the part that comes out, and it's like, that's the part that wants to cling to every single rock that comes along the way. It's like, ooh, it's close by. Let me reach it. Let me grab onto it. Let me, hang on. But fortunately, those rocks were just slippery enough. There was just enough moss on there. Plus, there's enough awareness on your part to be able to let go. And so I right now want to say this, and say it very publicly. Yay you. Yay you. Yay you for coming through. Yay you, my brother, because my journey is so much more joyous with you in it. So thank you. Thank you for making it through.
That's hard to receive. But thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. It's good. Again, there's like the smallest aspect of me, like, I don't know, but yeah, I don't know what the block is to really, because sometimes when I was alone today, like, all right, but then when it's someone else is saying it to me,
it's like, no, I'm not worthy. No,
again, it's like, no, I've been through this shit over and over. Why is this? And we talking earlier, and the constantly said metaphor for this is the personal growth, awakening. It's peeling layers of the onion, and but I just like. And I get that there's deeper layers, but like, this feels like the same damn layer of onion I've dealt with before. Like, what? That's what pisses me off.
It's like, which part of this onion is supposed to not make me cry,
Yeah. No, I'm back to the onion skin. Like, this is, And when I released, my book Still Here, How to Succeed at Life After Failing at Suicide, I was like, I'm not going to fail at suicide anymore. I'm not going there anymore. Like, it still is
it's
the
still
thing
there.
Yeah. And again, it's the illusion of that,
right,
to me. And for some, and I've shared this to myself before. I'm not addicted to heroin. I'm not addicted to alcohol, but I might very well be addicted to the dangling of suicide being an answer, being an out, and it isn't. And I find time and time again that it's not my out, obviously, because I'm still here.
Yeah, exactly. It's just one of those mossy, slippery rocks along, that are causing the flow to slow down a little bit, or causing that turmoil to show up periodically. And it's but also something that's helpful to acknowledge as part of our own human adventure is that, our human side tends to like familiarity and tends to cling to what feels safe, even if what we know feels safe is not really the best thing for us, but because it's familiar, because it has that feeling of not being new or scary. The scary thing sometimes can be less scary than just allowing things to just happen and flow.
Yeah.
Very much tied to just our evolution and how our brains just screw us over at times.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Because again, when I really started going downhill and noticing it myself, it was because how life was showing up for me. I didn't like any of the paths that was before me. And that's why I physically hurt my arms, so I couldn't use my arms when we were trying to like pack up and sell my house. And as my dad's is dying, and where we're going to live, and I didn't like any of the outcomes I had in front of me. So I just retreating and getting small. But then so my dad did pass away last month. It's 5 weeks now, and I was I wanted his death to happen. So totally wanted it. With cancer and dementia, his last weeks were difficult as hell, and part of, I don't want to see him living like this. I don't want him living like this. I don't want to grow in such an order that I live like this, not knowing who the fuck I am and relying on everybody. And it was terrifying to witness and to think that that's my future. But then, so when he died, I was talking to my mom last week and helped me realize like all the things I've been feeling. It's grief, and I didn't expect it. Due to the dementia, I guess now it's the finality. Like, yep, I can't go tell my dad something's up. I can't go ask him advice, but I already couldn't. So that's why I thought just the ceremony of his passing, more relief than a relief, and plenty of grief as well. So the emotions that all brought up really did surprise me. And again, it just fed into my oldest patterns. Of just wanting to check out and give up. And, I don't know. And I've told my wife that even if you promise me that I'm going to have, 20 years of love and everything, and then there's a bad year, and I'm like, no, no, it's going to be bad. Fuck it. Then I don't, And what made it easier for me to really get rid of clutter and make it easy to sell a house and selling everything in my dad's house now. Well, there's fine. There's no attachment, but my distorted way of that is, well, then because I'm going to die. What do I care? It's just yeah. So it's tough to be unattached yet keep functioning. For me, anyway, I'm not attached to anything. Keep functioning, and so I just took no actions at all. I would sleep as much as I could. Didn't want to do a damn thing, and it was gross. But again, just having, it's funny. Real men feel, and I was surprised how much emotion there was to feel. And I do have a really bad habit of not being able to label something as grief, not being able to see that I'm emotional over a change or loss, but that I twist it. I'm really emotional because I'm depressed, because I'm suicidal, because I twist it to be me and that there's something wrong.
Almost like you're beating yourself up over how we're feeling the emotion. It's like, I'm not supposed to do this. The old patterns, the old conditionings, if you will, the old expectations that society places on us. And so it's like, damn it. So you end up feeling worse over feeling worse as opposed to just feeling.
Right. And like, why? Well, it should be done now. I wasn't horribly close to my dad. I've never lived with him. So my upsetness about it should be done now. So what is this upsetness now? And it's just. But again, then even during that, didn't use my tools. I stopped doing all my self-care, spirituality enhancing, connecting to source, Akashic records, reaching out for healings, asking people to take a look at me energetically. What are you seeing? Realizing I'm kind of carrying almost the worst aspect of what my dad may have given to me. What am I trying to say? Because he often grew up saying, "Oh, you got look to look forward to, and you're my boy. You're gonna have all this." And I'm like, "Fuck you! I don't want to have all that."
Right, exactly. And here's something I might be able to offer as well that can really kind of help shed a little perspective on it. When we transition out of this life, we kind of go into a temporary holding pattern for a while to give us an opportunity to discharge all of the emotions, all of the energy that we've accumulated during this life. And if we end up being very aware of that individual who has transitioned and moved on, what happens is that we create almost like a connection through our awareness of that sudden departure of that individual, which then causes us to experience that very intense level of discharge. And depending on what it is that a person lived and what they went through and what they experienced in this life, the discharge can be particularly intense. Or, and again, every individual is different. Some are able to discharge very quickly, done, and move on, but others kind of take a while to do it. They're I know of cases where it took a really long time to do all the discharging and getting ready to finish their ascendance and their transcendence. But so when every individual goes through that, if we on this side are connected in any way, particularly through our awareness, then we experience the same thing. So I would offer that more than likely, because of your own awareness of everything that your dad was going through, particularly the relationship or lack thereof that you had with your dad, nevertheless created that awareness, and so therefore the discharge that was taking place, you wound up participating in that discharge somewhat unwittingly. And that happened to me when my dad actually passed. It was about a year and a half ago now, so February of 2016. And same thing, I had to be taught and become made aware very, very quickly of that connection, and don't tap in during that time of discharge, because you will experience it also, and it ain't fun and it ain't pretty. So yeah, and without being aware of that connection and that awareness during the period of releasing and discharging, we can unwittingly end up experiencing it on a much more intense level than what's even being experienced on the other side.
And one thing that really hit me, again, I was depressed and suicidal at a really young age. My first, I tried to OD at age 13. So I always thought I'd be gone first. I would not experience losing loved people because I'm checking out first. Like, you're not gonna make me hurt. I'm out of here first, and that was
Right.
a big part of it. And I can look at it with laughter and see that now. But like, that's so when I lost my dad, that grief and acknowledging that, I was more. My stepmom passed just in September, but we went so immediately to take care of my dad. There was like not real time to mourn that.
Yeah, no chance.
My stepfather had passed a couple years before that, and not really close. It was only after his death that I had experiences and felt him coming, and like, wow, this guy really loved me, and I never could accept it in physical form. So that was amazing. But I did this whole little memory lane of mourning people I see and realizing, oh, it's hitting me because right now I'm feeling so self-centered, and I don't want to feel this bad ever again. So the only way I can do something about that is to kill myself. That was my distorted thinking.
Right.
Like, how am I still so fucked up about this? But again, it feels worse, and it brought me down and kept me down because I didn't let it out.
Right.
I kept it in my frickin' skull of horrors, circulating. And if I wrote it out, if I did a show, expressing anything frees that energy, frees that thought from me. Right?
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly.
And whatever it is, this isn't just about, negative thinking or suicidal thinking. Like, whatever's
right, yeah.
Any obsessive thing, like, get it out, scream it, write it down, sing it.
Right. Exactly. In fact, I had to pull something up here really quick because it's it kind of goes along the lines of the the tenets of joy that I frequently talk about, which is no, the fourth tenet is that every emotion you feel is an aspect of joy. I mean, every emotional is in some way an aspect of joy. So when we allow all of them to flow, ultimately we end up living a joyous life because we're not resisting anything. We're not trying to stop anything. And it kind of reminds me also of Buddhist philosophy, and how in Buddhist philosophy, people talk, life is pain, life is suffering. It's not exactly that. In Buddhist philosophy there is suffering, that not that life is suffering, that in life there is suffering. And when the suffering oftentimes comes when we get caught up in that cycle where A, we resist, and B, we want things to be other than what they are, as opposed to just accepting things as they are and allowing them to be as they are. We can still have a desire for things to be different, but when you couple resistance with then beating ourselves up because we're resisting, and then it creates this not a virtuous cycle, but a just really nasty cycle. It just keeps going. So yeah.
And one thing, that at my worst I lose sight of, so I want to share it. Accepting things as they are when you don't like them doesn't mean that's how they'll always be.
Exactly.
But that's the rut you're thinking, like, oh,
exactly.
This is
the
how
whole
it is.
idea of impermanence.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this too shall pass. I mean, what wise words that were engraved on that ring so long ago, even if it is a story or a myth, whatever.
But you're saying that, all I'm thinking is, I fucking hate those words. Because no, really, from my negative outlook, it's like, well, if everything's going to pass, why bother doing anything? Like,
right,
I'm really
exactly.
I sold all my stuff. I got rid of my pinball machines, my Kiss collection, my Metallica collection, all gone. Like, right. Why have an interest in anything? Why care about anything?
Right. Yeah. No. Exactly.
But no, the point is, where life's supposed to be enjoyable. Yeah. And I got rid of some things that weren't bringing me joy still today. It doesn't mean they didn't in the past. And that's one thing I need to own and celebrate. And it's
yes, exactly. Even though things that brought you joy in the past aren't bringing you joy now, great. Let go of them, and something else will come in. So you have more room for more things that are more experiences, more things that are joyous. So yeah, and it's funny because sometimes when I talk to people about how I'll never feel this way again, I don't want to let go of this because I'll never feel this way again. I always say, yeah, that's exactly right. You never will feel that way again, but you can experience the same emotion in an entirely different way. The same emotions come and go. It is that flow. It is that ebb. It is that coming and going. But that emotion, every emotion, can be experienced in an infinite way. And so the exact way that you feel in that moment, yeah, you won't feel it again, but you will feel something related to that. Yeah. Even if it's just a slight shift, it's not exact as the previous one, but you will feel it again. Every emotion you will feel again and again and again and again, and a variant of it into infinity. Yeah.
So I'd like to shift a little bit and focus on something that you recently wrote
yes.
And I skimmed it because I didn't want to know about it so we could talk about it.
Sure.
But my quick take on it was about you questioning whether you're a good friend and even a good person.
Yeah. Okay. Indeed. Part of it was prompted of my awareness of during your dark night of the soul, or dark summer of the soul, if you will, that all I was doing was simply holding space for you, not really reaching out to make sure. And that is prompted partially by that, but also just an examination because my husband is amazing as far as those little details of just reaching out to people, touching base, saying hello. He's really good at details. I'm great at big picture thinking and that kind of stuff. And when experiencing somebody and being with somebody in person, especially, and this, to me, seeing you, even though you're in Massachusetts and I'm in Salt Lake, this to me still counts as being in person. I'm able to experience that intensely, and I'm there and present very, very intensely. But then once it's done, because I'm so in the moment also, I kind of like let it go. And I'm like, but yeah, when somebody's going through a crisis, I should let them know I care. And then I don't. And so I was really questioning so much about myself, and I was like, is this me being a bad person? Is this me being a bad friend? And going through my own introspection, I kind of came to a conclusion of two big conclusions. The first one is that no, I'm not being bad. It's just me. It's just somebody who knows me very, very well was able to put it in this way. She described it to me as this. This is her describing me. She said, you're somebody who lives in this really, really intense ball of light. And that light in which you're centered is incredibly brilliant. It's incredibly joyous. And you have just an amazing ability to welcome people into that. But every time that you step out of that, that space of light that you occupy, it tends to scatter everywhere. And it tends to cause you a lot of emotional pain. And when she said that, I'm like, that does kind of make a lot of sense. I'm somebody who's really very easily and joyously, in fact, anxiously welcoming people into that space. It's like I have a open door policy because there are no doors. It's like, come on in, join the party, join the fun, be part of my life. Absolutely. And I welcome you. And you're welcome to step out at any time. But for me to step out of that space, it's at times terrifying. It is at times even painful, emotionally painful for me. So I found that it's safer and easier for me to step in, but at the same time, I've been discovering that as I step out more, as I share these thoughts more, when I'm blogging and so forth, what it's doing is expanding that space a little bit more. It's inviting more people in so that we can participate together, and I'm able to be more of that friend I want to be, at least as far as the little things that society expects friends to do for each other. I'm trying. I'm definitely
You're not
expanding.
Just you're not trying's the lie, right? You're doing it.
Right,
But
exactly.
I'm so touched that you shared that our relationship, communicate, whatever it was, kind of led to that post too. Because when I saw the title, I was like, I'm not reading this. I didn't hear from fucking Appio, so I'm going to take this so personally. And I would comment like, but a part of me wanted to strike back. But I also have to realize at the same time, the friends that did reach out to me, I ignored. If you would try, I ignored. I
knew.
Hang up, not doing it. It's like, why do I choose to suffer? And that's the part that, again, the frustration in me, why do I consciously choose feeling bad when the option to do something that feels good is there?
Yeah.
And that just infuriates me.
Yeah, indeed. And so all along, without either of us speaking to each other during all this time, we've both been there for each other. We've both been holding space for each other, and we've both been very much aware of each other's presence. So I think that's the beauty of us being not just aware of our human experience, being focused just on our five senses, but being able to see and sense past that and realize that connection is always there. That support is always going to be there, even if it's not necessarily represented in that physical space.
Yeah,
it's there.
And a big thing for support is there for all of us, even when, and especially when we don't want it. I refuse to step into that supportive place. Nope, I'm gonna stay here and feel like crap. I don't care if there's support in front of me. There's again, for me, it's just this egoic stubbornness of like,
Mhm.
nope, I'm really messed up. Nope, I'm a big victim of shit, and no one can help me. And
And then, and then when they do write in, it's like, oh fuck you and the horse you rode in on.
Yeah. It's just,
and I knew that's the space that you're in. I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit here and instead hold that space. Just wrap Andy and Lori in that cocoon of love that's part of my world. It's
You're a spider making a web of love.
yep. Indeed.
But again, that's when I'm low and bad and not taking action. Part of my story. I don't have any friends, and someone's coming. No, I don't have any friends. I gotta ignore these people reaching out to me. No, I said I don't have any friends.
Yeah, it's like, wait a second. No. You're blowing up my story here. I have a good story. I want to keep to it. Okay.
Yeah. Again, it's that comfort level, and I like to curl up in my quilt of feeling miserable and being depressed because it's a freaking quilt that I'm used to. It's just
it's that familiarity,
right? And I have no idea what's coming next. I don't know how much longer we're gonna live in this house. I still don't have a job. I've ignored my business all summer. I don't have anything, and yet I feel more optimistic than weeks ago.
Exactly.
So it makes no sense.
I know, isn't it funny? It's like I'm focused on my optimism now. I mean, the circumstances are the same, but guess what? I'm focused on my optimism, and that's the story I'm going to cling to now.
Yeah, and again, all of this, it all, maybe the big part of this is why I feel like I'm at the same layer of onion. It's again proven to me. It's when I believe I can't do anything right, when my beliefs are manifesting my experience. And when I was finally like, all right, I'm ready to let go of that. I'm ready to stand back up and do something. Then that's my experience.
Right. Yeah, exactly. In fact, a few weeks ago, there was another one of those thoughts that I was sharing of my own. It's like, boy, when I get on my bitch train, there ain't no stopping it. And I will, if I get on the bitch train and it's still in the station, it's easy to get off. But if that bitch train leaves the station, I'm just going to go for that ride, and I'm just going to ride it for all it's worth. And then it just reaches a point where it's like, okay, I'm done. I am so over this. I'm tired of my pity party. I don't want to go through this anymore. So yeah, I'm getting off. And I mean, so many people can try to reach out and try to stop it. But yes, what you described about people reaching out, it's like, oh, fuck you. I don't want to have anything to do with you right now. Right. Yeah, I it's the same thing with me. Yeah. And then it's like, okay, you know what? No, I'm done. This ride was fun at first, but no, it really isn't. So that's fortunately when another train station comes up and the bitch train actually stops so you can get off.
Yeah, and I've noticed this all along, but it really becomes apparent when I'm in the negative space and want to give up and quit and everything sucks. But it's the all or nothing thinking. Mm-hmm. Right? This will never be yours, and it's just extremes. And again, and when it comes to spirituality all the time, it's like, no, it's not just, you can't just be spiritual and you're not just human, and it's being both. And it's like, man, I forget that. And it's an and world. It's not all or nothing. It's all and nothing.
It's all and nothing. Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. And I get that. But that's like, was this, do I freaking grind myself? It's like my worst bully. I'm grinding my face in the sand of the ocean, beating myself up before I again realize what I thought I already knew, but I'm gonna get it again.
Right, exactly. And it's funny because I just saw Lori jump on. Hi, Lori, and she's been good at helping both of us kind of like let go of our stories. Because she responded to my post, which I was so grateful for that, because it's like, yep, thanks for helping to remind me to put certain things in perspective. So she's been an anchor for both of us, I think. So we're so grateful to have that.
Nope, for a lot of people.
So,
Yeah.
Lori, just so you know, I'm now your brother husband, okay? Just like they're sister wives now, it's like I'm your brother husband. So,
Well, just what I need, somebody else who's got issues.
right.
That's exactly what I was thinking. She's like, this is not on her wish list, I bet.
Trust me, I won't dump on you, though.
Awesome. Good, I'm working on those boundaries to make sure that doesn't happen.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. Keep them up. And I oftentimes will remind myself, it's like, oh, wait, no, I have my own boundaries I got to stick to.
So Sapio, let me
Oh,
ask
gosh.
in your sharing and posting and presenting your authenticity about feeling, questioning your worth, your value.
Yeah.
Did that feel good?
As I was going through it, as I was releasing it, as I was writing it down, it didn't feel so good so much as it was I'm going through a process of release. And I noticed that as it progressed, when I first started it, I mean, it was just like this, blah, you know, I just spewed it out. And then when I went through to kind of really refine my thoughts, it did end up feeling better. It did end up ultimately be feeling like it was a release. It's like, okay, it's done. I got it out. Now I'm good. And so initially, and again, sometimes, you know, that good feeling can be somewhat nuanced, if you will, because when you're feeling better than what you were, it may not necessarily be a great feeling, but it's still better. So we can still attach that label of good to it. I feel good as a result because it's certainly in a better place. But it may not necessarily be that really super ecstatically joyous place. But what I've learned from that whole experience and you know, just that introspection is that any time that we end up feeling better than where we were when we started that particular journey, no matter where we end up, it's good. It's great. I mean, it really is truly good in the purest sense of the word.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
and it's neat as you're saying that, realizing, well, those are things I knew, but then this has been this prolonged theory, so it was a lie. But no, so each time I let myself feel and sob be a freaking mess. When it was done, I felt better. And
Yep.
whether it happened again hours later or the next day, it was a different experience. But again, in my looking at it negatively, like, oh, it's never ending, it's all alive. Like, oh wait, each time I felt better with each release. But I kept thinking that, well, this is the last release, and it wouldn't be. That's where I would get caught up.
Exactly. And there's never really truly an end to releasing. And if anything, I would even rephrase that to say there's never an end to discovery.
Yeah.
Because every time that there's a release, it really is more of a discovery.
Yeah. No, I agree. But it takes that one of the things I shared last week and was it takes some witnessing.
Yeah.
Right? You can living in the release, it's tough for me to see the discovery in the moment. Like there's got to be some passage and then witness and wow, what did I just go through? What can I take from this? Or sometimes it's immediate. Oh my God, it all hits you, and then sometimes you gotta. I mean, people call it the processing, or all these different things of sitting with something, or.
Yeah. So true. So true. And again, it's amazing how we're so question from Lori, and then I'll get back to my thought. That's if I can remember it afterwards. But so Lori, what happened was at the very last moment, Wendy had something come up, and so she was unable to join us. But hopefully, she will be able to join us next week. So, but in a way, it actually ended up working out well because this has really enabled Andy and me to just kind of reconnect and reestablish those foundations that we have for Real Men Feel, because boy, the two of us are really feeling right now.
Yeah, it's like Real Men Feel Coffee Talk edition.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like we haven't done that a couple of times.
Yeah, no, and again, that's
it's
even
great.
I missed it. Again, doing the impromptu just shows, regurgitating into the camera for the last couple episodes. Like, wow, I missed that space of nothing planned,
Yeah.
Where are we going?
Exactly.
Because we both write for the Good Men Project, and their tagline is the conversations nobody else is having.
Nobody else is having.
And that's really, that's how I described the show before I even knew about their tagline. Like, oh, these are the conversations most men are not having.
Exactly.
Because again, I'm talking to things in the show here and now with you that I haven't said out loud to anyone else. And even as a coach and a spiritual person and a speaker and an author and the host of Real Men Feel, I don't call my buddies that are near here. I've got some of my dearest friends that I did my whole big trip to Utah last October with that I have not spoken to live since then. And again, they reached out. They knew, sorry about your dad. You want to talk? And I'm like, nope.
Right.
And they'd invite me out. Like, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, no, I'm choosing my misery over something that could feel better.
Right.
But a lot of many of my buddies have already lost their dads.
Right.
Most of them knew my dad at some level and stuff. But again, refuse. It's fucking weird to me. I'll have a conversation when it's part of a show, when it's almost like when it's more, this is all for a benefit of other people, right? This isn't about me. And then it's fucking a crock. But when I'm willing to make it about me and share it, then it really helps most people.
Right?
Yeah, I got to get off my fucking leader spokesman bullshit and just have a private conversation, be willing to say these same things or different things or whatever's showing up and not
exactly. The yin, the yang, the receiving and the giving and the receiving. There can't be giving without receiving as well. It is a virtuous cycle. And so, yeah, absolutely. And, and plus, not to mention the fact that if we're always giving, but we're not receiving, we're depriving people of being able to give. So, yeah, I'm like, it was a hard lesson. And I think that's something that speaks to our societal conditioning as well. Because, our society, particularly Western society, really harps a lot on it is better to give than to receive. Well, no, it's better to give and receive.
Right. Yeah, you can't. Right. It's not a one-way street.
No, it isn't.
Well, again, so that's an example of that's an all or nothing cliche. Right. Should be yes.
It
give
is.
And receive. It's better to give and receive.
Receive.
That's the truth. That's the only way that can be true. Right?
Yeah.
Or it's awesome to give and receive. It's no better.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So. Wow, this has been good.
Yeah, this
has been really, really good.
Light and insightful. And again, this is what my original intention for the show.
Exactly.
A place where again an uncomfortable conversation, or again by example, here's things. And so there was even a comment someone on YouTube wrote. In the show where I was just talking about being so disappointed in myself, and they had said something like, I can hear all the same advice and it doesn't stick, but when I hear someone say so much of what's in my own head, it really makes a difference somehow.
Indeed.
Yeah. And I was like, that was so neat to hear. And again, it validates everything I keep discovering. Like, none of us are so unique that whatever we're feeling or thinking isn't happening to someone else.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, I've been surprised at the response to my own post. How many people it's like, yeah, I think the same thing. I'm having the same questions. That's my experience too. I'm like, oh, I guess that one definitely resonated with a few folks.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So if all of us, as artists, communicators, leaders, teachers, coaches, friends, coworkers, could just drop like, oh wait, I'm going to share more of me, whatever it is. Like it resonates.
Exactly.
We're all human beings. We're all spiritual beings, and yeah, there's none of us that. And again, I believe this goes back to the ego trying to make I'm separate and I'm different. I'm not like everyone else. No one has ever felt this pain over this subject, so therefore no one can possibly understand it. So I'm not going to reach out to anyone. So I can't be proven wrong.
Right? It's like my story. I don't want to did, and you triggered an interesting thought in my head that I think is important to mention here, and now it just left again. So we will go back to it. Damn, it's like that scrolly moment. You see the monkey, monkey mind suddenly just took over again. Oh, that just drives me crazy when that happens. Oh shoot. Okay, we'll get back to it.
Yeah, I don't know how to retrieve you. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. It's like, sorry.
You'll have to listen to the show later and go, oh, there it is.
Right. And probably that's exactly what will happen as I'm listening to it again. I'm like, oh, that's what it was. But no, it's all good. Oh, hey, Donna. She just discovered the chat. Oh, man. Honestly, Donna, we are so happy. No, you're good. And we're so happy that you've been able to sit here and just participate in the discussion all along. If you have any questions, observations for us, feel free to toss them into the chat, or you can even unmute yourself and just jump right in. You're totally good that way as well. So did you want to speak up? Because we can unmute you if you'd like. Yes? Okay, great. So hold on just one second. We'll get that taken care of here for you. Unmute. There we go.
Mute it. Hold on. Now I need to just. Oh my God. It really truly takes me a while.
Welcome to my world.
Well, hi, everybody.
Hi.
I can't read your names even on the screen. I showed up for Wendy, obviously, but then I thought, well, I'm here, I might as well hang out, and I've really enjoyed the conversation, or at least the therapy between the two of you.
Indeed. That's so great. Oh no, that's so great. And yeah, hopefully Wendy will be able to join us again soon. But
so you're saying next week?
That's what we're hoping. I'll be confirming with her, either tomorrow or the day after. We're just going to see how she's doing, how she's feeling, and then we'll kind of go from there. But
right. I know she's got to feel it. She's got to be ready to bring it. If she's
Indeed, exactly. And so she's just so amazing and wonderful, and everybody is going to love her when she comes on. So.
I'm sure of it. I already do. Hey, so let's see. So is it
Apio, right.
Apio. So you're in Utah.
Uh-huh.
Andy, where are you?
I'm in Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. I need my glasses because I can barely see that little tiny bit. And then Lori, where are you at? Lori's on mute. Never mind. I see the microphone.
Okay. Hi, I'm in Massachusetts. I'm Andy's wife.
Oh, hey. All right. I should invite my husband in. What the heck? No. Small group. Let's have a party.
Oh, no, it's great.
We're in Pennsylvania. So we're sort of on, the same side, or Apio's way out there in Salt Lake. But I'm from actually the West, so I'm very familiar with Salt Lake.
Oh, how awesome!
Utah, Idaho,
Yes.
Oregon, Washington. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is so awesome.
How much of the clips did you see? You said in the beginning that you saw, like 90% or something. It was really high. It was higher than you had.
So where we were here in Salt Lake, we actually were at 92%. And I was able to actually get the glasses and put them on. And it was just like a little sliver of the sun. And it was really amazing. In fact, Wendy had told me ahead of time, it's like, because she's experienced a couple of total eclipses. And she did say, you know what? Pay attention to the light levels where you're at, because even though it won't be in totality, you will still notice it's a noticeable dip, and spot on. I'm like, wow, it is really amazing. It was like dusk, and it was like cool outside. I was surprised at how much the temperature dropped. So. Yeah,
it was interesting, wasn't it? Because I don't know how it was for you guys in Massachusetts, but in Pennsylvania, I think we were only at maximum, we were only at 78% or something. And I didn't have the glasses, and it was so disappointing because I really didn't seek them out. But next time, if there's another opportunity, I will. Anyway, but the outside light, like you said, the light factor really was, even though it was day, it wasn't like it was cloudy. It was just an interesting, different light, environmental light. And And then the storm sort of rolled in, a bunch of clouds right after. It was just a really interesting effect. And I love what you guys were saying about just the collectiveness for just that brief moment, you know, wherever we were. I mean, we just were so distracted with all the nonsense really that's going on, and that shift in that moment that we really needed, you know. I think that was a really cool thing.
Yes.
And it is so rare that like natural disasters and catastrophes kind of bring it, but it was like, wow, this was just a beautiful nature moment. And I don't know if there's any equivalent beyond an eclipse that does that.
Yeah, and I think it was even beyond, almost beyond nature. It was very universal. It just, it was the realization that we're so much more than these little earth beings. You know what I mean? It was a very cool, I guess, natural process, but it's realizing that on a planetary level, you know, really how it all played out. And I don't know, it was cool though. It was really cool. It was quite the event for a little while, you know. And energetically, you're right, before, preceding it, and I think really for some time after, we're gonna feel that shift, and we're gonna feel it physically, emotionally, you know, that's what I heard you saying. And but wouldn't you agree that you almost felt it? I felt it very physically. That's how I felt it. Not so much emotionally. I mean, it was cool and all of that, and I really appreciated it. But honestly, I felt like dizzy for Sunday and Monday. Like your equilibrium was off. Like energetically, you felt it. I don't know if any of you guys experienced it physically, but others did too. I know that I've had this conversation with.
Yeah, I actually did experience that. I was feeling very lethargic, and I know a part of it has to do with just the fact that physiologically, every winter I go through that. You know, I actually do go through seasonal affective disorder, so that the lower light levels already affect me. So that sudden dip, I felt like a possum almost. Yeah. It's like, I went outside. I was with a bunch of people and feeling their energy, feeling their excitement and so forth really kind of helped sustain me through that period. But at the same time, I was also feeling that shift. I was also paying close attention to the renewal, the releasing, the sense of hope that many people were also feeling.
That reset, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was cool.
It really was.
Yeah. So have you guys been friends for a long time?
Yes. Andy and I have known each other since 2013, November 2013, when we met in Boston at a conference there. Yeah.
We've only seen each other in the flesh twice.
Exactly. Yes. Once in Boston and once down in Key West.
Yeah, but you've maintained your friendship, so that's lovely.
Indeed.
Yeah. Good.
Well, cool.
All right. Well, I'm sorry to interrupt that whole conversation.
Oh, you're good. No, we're great. I'm so glad you've been here and that you're able to participate as well. Thank you.
And it really does. It makes it really. I love to hear that some. You know, I love it when anyone, you know, a stranger to us individually. Oh, I got a benefit out of the show, and you know, man or woman, like, oh, it is fun to, and I'm getting something out of hearing you. Therapy.
I was definitely I appreciate the fact that you guys were counseling each other, you know, and being really honest in the process. So that was good, and I'm really sorry to hear about your dad. You know, that was also, but I kept feeling when you were saying that I think you did give yourself permission, but it's okay to give yourself permission to want to check out for a little while. So as those friends reached out or whatever, you need to check out, I think. And so it's okay. And I think people realize that and accept that, you know, and when you go, but do you think, and this is really, just listening to you, because I was listening to all you said, it just seems like it goes so far back to like when you were maybe a little boy in the relationship you had with your dad I'm being much more deeper rooted with the dad thing, and I don't know, and your feeling of like wanting to check out on occasion through life, you know, and I'm glad you did it, because we would be having this conversation tonight. But I don't know, I kept feeling that as I was listening to you, and I guess specifically I can't really even go back to a point in the conversation because I was multitasking and listening, but that kind of resonated with me. So I don't know if you've ever like dug a little deeper and tried to figure that out. Why is that? You know?
Oh, I've been digging deep all my life on that.
Yeah.
But you broke up a little bit on me, so I'm not sure exactly what you were asking. But yeah, my dad was bipolar, an alcoholic. My parents divorced when I was like 5. At that same time, I was molested by a neighbor.
Yeah, there's something.
I wanted to check out from an early age. I shut down, withdrew.
Yeah, you clearly had some trauma in your early childhood. That's clear, because I think to feel like you said, I think it was when you said you tried to check out at 13, 12 or 13. Right? Yeah. So not to turn all heavy on you, I just it just touched me and made me want to because I'm a fixer, which isn't probably a good thing, but you know, it just made me want to dig deeper, I guess, with you and figure that out, so that you don't feel that as an out, that you see that and you accept it. You know, I'm having a really lousy period of time right now, but that you don't see that as an option, because I don't see that as an option, you know. So there's something that, you know, I would just say, knock it off. See, I'm looking at your face right now. You don't see how I see you. I'm slapping his face, Lori, right now.
She tries. Yeah, I'll say, slap harder, put me under, you know.
No. Anyway, all right, I'll shut up. But thank you for having me in your room tonight.
Absolutely.
No,
Thank you,
pleasure.
Donna.
Yeah, thanks for speaking up, and yeah, I love that we started little clips, went full circle, and then even some tangents to end it all too. So it's all good. But yeah, we've been going for over an hour, so let's instead of having the 5-hour coffee talk, let's save some for next time.
Right, exactly. Because there'll always be more.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that, you know, my dog has been like coming in and poking me. He's like, oh, come on, let's go outside. Let's go outside. Now, when he reaches the point where he starts poking my crotch, I know he's really serious. So.
About what?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's like he's really serious about it. He needs to go outside.
Cool. So thanks for everyone joining us live. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for Appio. Great to connect and be with you. And again, it is neat to have that authentic, open talk, just between two men, without a guest, without a topic, without some investigation. So I appreciate and applaud you for showing up fully tonight and all nights. And again, if everything sticks with the plan, next week's show will be Wendy Isaac, and we'll dive deeper into the shift and the energy and the transformation that the eclipse brings about.
Indeed. So, and Andy, thank you so much for rising from the ashes. This version of the Phoenix is truly joyous to see.
All right. I don't fully own that yet, but I will.
Well, let us sit there anyway. It's on your shoulder now.
All right. Cool. Thanks again, everyone. Have a great night.
All right, you guys. Good night.
Thank you for listening to Real Men Feel. Until next time, visit realmenfeel.org, join the Real Men Feel group on Facebook, and share what you thought of this show. Please give this podcast a review on iTunes, Google Play, or wherever you are discovering Real Men Feel. Reach out to us at realmenfeel@gmail.com. Learn more about Andy Grant at theandygrant.com and Appio Hunter at appiohunter.com.